Hi there. Today I'm going to be breaking down my paycheck and sharing with you my gross pay, my take home pay, as well as my deductions, the employee contributions I make, as well as sharing with you my expenses and how every dollar is being allocated using a zero based budget. But before we dive in, I just want to say hello if you're new here. I'm Sydney. And just to give you a little context about myself, I'm 28 years old. I live in rural Montana with my fiance. I don't have any kids, but I have a really cute German Shepherd Husky named Rosie, and it's just my partner and my dog. And right now, I am on a financial freedom journey. I am figuring out how to make better financial decisions, as well as really sticking to budgeting and saving and paying off debt so that hopefully I can retire earlier in my hopefully late 40s, early 50s. And I just want to share my journey with you so that hopefully you can maybe feel inspired to take control of your own finances and just pave your own way towards financial freedom. So, I am going to go ahead and just dive into it, getting started with sharing that my take home pay for this paycheck was $2,385.66. Now, for context as well, I work for a tech company and I work in HR. I'm an HR generalist, and this job is relatively new for me. I just started this job at the beginning of June, so I just finished my 4 weeks at my job, and I'm honestly loving it so far. And one of the primary motivators for getting a new job was that I needed to be earning more money so that I can work towards my financial goals of paying down debt, paying down student loans, as well as just getting ahead financially. So, like I said, my take home pay was $2,000, $2,385.66. And for some reason, I wasn't able to see my pay stub in my employee portal. I think that might show up on Monday because technically our payday is on the 15th of every month, as well as the last day of each month. I had that question a lot. Apparently, I'm on like a semi monthly pay schedule. So I get paid on the 15th and then I get paid on the last day of the month. However, if payroll falls on like the weekend, say the 15th falls on the weekend, I usually get paid the prior Friday. Or if payroll falls on a Monday, like this pay date, which would be June 30th, I could get paid as soon as Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and my pay ended up coming in on Friday night. So that is my pay schedule. And so for my gross pay, I actually shared with ChatGPT my last pay stub and asked ChatGPT to help me determine what my gross pay was since I'm not able to see the pay stub, which would likely come in tomorrow morning, I'm thinking, when I log on for work. Nonetheless, I'm going to show you what ChatGPT estimated my gross pay was based on my last uh, pay stub. So, roughly, my gross pay was $3,136.25. And then for my deductions, including taxes as well as my whole medical and health insurance package, was $625.05 that was deducted. And then I also contribute to my Roth 401k because my company does a 4% match. And I think it's really important to take advantage of any retirement account match that your company does. Even if you have debt, I don't see why you can't still contribute to your retirement while paying down debt, depending on your circumstances and situation. So, my contribution is 4%. I do the exact 4% match, and that was $125.45 that I contributed to my Roth 401k, and my company also contributed. In total, my entire deductions for this paycheck would have been $750.05. That's a lot. I really wish that was coming into my actual net pay. But, anyways, like I said, my net pay was $2,385.66. And now I'm going to be diving in to my expenses and what bills I'm having to pay with this paycheck, as well as other miscellaneous expenses. Okay, so first off, I do have to pay rent. It's kind of crazy. I always think every time I get a paycheck, I'm like, oh, I have a little wiggle room. I don't have to pay rent. I don't have to pay this or that. But it's really every other paycheck that I realize is going towards my rent, my utilities, and those necessities. So, like I said, I moved to rural Montana and I've been living in rural Montana for about a year now. We were living in the city in Missoula, but then my fiance decided it would be a good idea to save money, get ahead, and move to rural Montana, which we have been doing. And honestly, I love it. It was quite an adjustment at first, but I really love that I'm able to save a lot on my rent and I'm able to allocate what otherwise would be put towards rent, towards other expenses, paying down debt, and saving. I know some people in the city are paying at least 50% of their income towards rent, if not at least like 30%, I believe. So, this opportunity to pay so little is just such a blessing. That being said, my total monthly rent is $725, including our pet fee, which I think is $50 a month. And that is shared with my fiance. So we split that at $362.50. That is what I pay towards my rent. And then utilities do fluctuate each month. For utilities in the winter, it's obviously higher. I don't have AC, and luckily my apartment stays cool. So my portion for utilities this month was $34.50. And then I will be paying my car payment in this paycheck, even though my previous paycheck I paid my car payment. However, that was because I kind of paid my car payment later than I had planned on my last paycheck because I was waiting for my first paycheck from my new job. So again, I'm making my car payment, which is due on the 6th of every month, and that is $330 for my car payment. Then for groceries, um, groceries, I didn't have to do a big grocery haul this paycheck because we bought quite a bit of groceries during my last paycheck, and I'm honestly making that stretch. So, in order to really make a dent in my credit card, I decided to just be really conservative with cooking at home and using whatever it is I have in my pantry. Plus, I do tend to stock up on meats and proteins, so I keep that in the freezer and I pull from that daily or weekly as I need. That being said, I also decided to opt into a beef box subscription. I'm trying this right now because I'm really try to eat grass fed, grass finished beef, and there's a local ranch nearby that I decided to support and try their beef. So we're doing that for now, and that is $50 every other week. So I'm allocating $50 towards that beef box, which I will pick up not this week, but the following week because I already picked up a box this past week. Then for eating and dining out, apologies, I have allergies that I'm still suffering through. So my voice is cracking because of my nasal passages and allergies. Um, for eating and dining out, yesterday, me and my fiance ended up going into town and we went to a movie and to eat. And so there was expenses involved. Um, for eating and dining out yesterday, and this is the only eating and dining out I plan to do for this pay period, was $33.75. Then I did spend on gas and transportation going there, which hopefully is also the only gas and transportation expense I have for this pay period, and that was $46.77. So for the next expense on my expenses, I put in the category of fun money because I guess this is just an activity me and my fiance like to do. So we live in an area with a lot of hot springs and we enjoy soaking in the hot springs. It just really helps to relax us and help heal our bodies. So I put $50 towards soaking because you can get a punch card for $50 and I think you get 10 soaks at $5 a piece. So I bought us a punch card for soaking and that was $50. And then the next expense is Preply. So I take Mandarin classes, Mandarin tutoring classes with a Chinese native, and I spend $50.40 for that monthly subscription, and I have 4 classes a month. And then I also am paying for Spotify. So I will be paying $5.99 for Spotify. And yes, I have the student discount because I just finished my master's. So I'm still on that student discount for Spotify. And then unfortunately, I had to pay a subscription for Apple, which I pay $2.99 a month for Apple storage on my phone. And then HBO Max is $4.99. So I put that on here because that fell, like, right before I got paid. I think it got taken out on the 26th of the month. So I just put that in here, in my expenses. And then for medical and health, I mentioned this in my last payday routine. I have been having some health issues, some medical issues that I've been wanting to take care of for a really long time and haven't had the resources to do so. I am seeing a functional medicine doctor to help alleviate my symptoms and get to the root cause of what is causing some of the things that I'm going through. Um, I will be happy to make a video on that later on down the line, just sharing kind of my medical journey and medical concerns that I've been dealing with through functional medicine and just kind of sharing my experience with that. I really am early on and just got started in this process. So for now, I will just be sharing the expenses on that. And that was $350 for a treatment I did. And I did budget that into this paycheck, knowing I would have to pay for that medical expense. And then I'm really excited to be putting $1,000 towards my credit card. So I have a credit card that I've had for quite a long time with a balance currently of $6,148.39. I'm so excited to be able to budget and put $1,000 towards this credit card, which will leave me now with a balance of $5,139. Sorry, $5,148.39. So I'm just so happy to really be putting a dent in this credit card. It was such a struggle in my last role where I think my take home was between $1,200 and $1,300 every 2 weeks. And to be able to make a significant dent while still being able to budget for other expenses and bills is just such a blessing. And I'm so grateful for this new role that I have that is helping me to really just live a little bit more comfortably. And then now, lastly, I have 66 sorry, $63.77 to put towards my emergency fund or savings fund. I kind of just lumped that together right as of right now because I don't have enough left over to be contributing to both savings and emergency. So I'm just putting savings emergencies into one at this for this time. And that leaves me with like $0 left. Every dollar has been allocated uh, as of right now. And so that is how I'm doing my budgeting is just forecasting my paycheck, which would be roughly the same since I'm a salary employee, and then just deducting what I know my expenses to be. It is hard when unexpected expenses come up and things you're not expecting um, do happen to pop up, but for the most part, I know what my expenses are each month or each pay period that I'm able to do the zero based budgeting. And so far, that is working for me. Now, I haven't touched on my student loans. And so I'm going to share that with you. I have a student loan balance of $45,000, $45,125. And That weighs really heavily on me, the fact that I have that much, and that's mostly due to my master's program. It was quite expensive and honestly came out to more than what I thought it would be, and when I signed up for my master's, I'll be honest, I really did not calculate or forecast and predict and look at the numbers as accurately as I should have when I uh, signed up for my master's program. But in hindsight, I'm still grateful I completed my master's. I think it is going to help me in my role since I actually work in HR and I got my master's in HR management. Um, and yeah, I'm determined to just make aggressive payments towards my student loans as soon as I finish paying my credit card down. That has been the main goal is to just pay down this credit card as soon as possible. Oh, and one caveat with my credit card is that I was really frustrated about the interest rate and just not being able to get ahead on paying down my credit card. So I called my bank and said, "What can I do to get the interest rate down?" The only option they offered me was closing out the credit card and having an interest rate of 1%. I chose to do this and I felt like it was a good fit for me because I just didn't care about having a credit card. I was wanting to pay it down without stressing about the interest. And at the time, I did not have enough money left over in my paychecks to be paying my credit card. And so honestly, I was lucky if I could put like $10, $5 towards my credit card payment or just make the minimum payment, which is $80. And I wasn't able to get ahead and make aggressive payments like I wanted to. So in order to eliminate the stress of interest, I was like, that's it. I'm closing out the credit card. I'm accepting the 1% interest rate because I just don't care to stress about the interest rate. And for me, that was what made sense for me at the time. And I'm still glad that I did that. It didn't really heavily affect my credit score as much as I thought it would, but I honestly didn't care because I know your credit score can always go up as long as you're paying everything else on time and you're not having other bills and um, debts go into like delinquency or collections. So if you're struggling with credit card debt, maybe see how your bank can work with you or how your creditor can work with you in either closing out your credit card if that is a good option for you, and lowering the interest rate. It doesn't hurt to ask. So that kind of wraps up this paycheck. Um, and I hope to be making another very large uh, payment towards my credit card next pay period as well, which I will be sharing with you. And hopefully tackling my student loan debt very soon. Thank you so much for following along on my journey and for watching. I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you in the next video.